Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. I am Tracy, and today I am interviewing Sherry Briscoe. Sherry is a native Idahoan with Cherokee heritage. She has written 12 paranormal suspense mysteries and a nonfiction book. She's currently the executive director of Writers at Harriman, a week-long summer writing camp that brings students from all across the country, from public schools to homeschooled, to spark and grow their writing abilities. She's also a former president of the Idaho Authors Guild, and her most recent series, the Desert Rose series, is placed in the Southwest in a small desert town, and it stars Carmela Canova Cardova, who gets stranded with nothing but a Star Trek flip phone and a ring from a wedding that she can't remember. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you. I know that name is quite a mouthful. I used to work with a gal who was telling me one time about her family, and they were Sicilian, and her great aunt was named Carmela Canova Cardova. And I said, I have to use that name somewhere. I have to use it. It's just so incredible.
Yeah, no, it's great. It kind of has some alliteration going on there.
Yeah. So I created Carmela with that name in mind, created a uh, imaginary town. So it's not set in a real place. My other books are all set in real places. So this was the first time I got to create something imaginary.
So fun. Well, and it was a really fun read. So we're discussing the first book in this series. It's called The Dutiful Daughter. And Carmela arrives on the scene and she just doesn't even remember what happened to her. She was in a coma and her wedding sounds like it was a disaster. So give us a little bit of her backstory as she arrives in this small little town.
Right. So Carmela grew up in Gresham, Oregon, right outside of Portland, and her father is an attorney. But she doesn't know that he's doing books for some not very reputable people. And her fiance is brought into her dad's firm, and he gives him this account, hoping that he'll never really look into it, but he does. And when he starts seeing that these are illegal funds and that this is money laundering, he makes a copy of everything and puts it on a thumb drive. And he doesn't know what to do with it, but somehow they find out. And so they ram their car right after the wedding. It kills him. They think it's gone, but they keep searching for it. She doesn't know she has it and doesn't find out until much later in the book.
Yeah, she doesn't know, yeah, what's going on much at all. And her dad just kind of abandons her in this hotel. It's like, hey, I got you a job and have fun. I'll be in touch.
Well, he's hoping that he's protecting her
Yeah,
by getting her out of the way in some unknown place where these guys can't find her.
right. Um, but she starts making friends. So let's talk a little bit about some of her friends, because and some of them aren't really even of this world.
Yeah, so if you've ever been to Boise, Idaho, there's a very old hotel called the Idenhof, and it looks like a French castle. That's how it was designed in the late 1800s. And I used that building as the Desert Rose Hotel and Casino. So the idea is this was built just down across the border in Nevada. And, you know, over 100 years ago. And there was a shootout in 1914 in the hotel. Really?
Wow.
Was shot in the elevator and killed. So I used that story for the elevator lift guy,
Driver.
Otis. And so he is a ghost. And Carmela doesn't realize it because she gets in the elevator. He's there. He's taking her up to her floor, and he's always talking to her. But she doesn't realize he's been there since 1914.
Right. That was kind of fun. And so we should mention to viewers that this book clearly has some paranormal qualities. Um, and some of her friends have some pretty amazing abilities too.
Yes. So she can talk to ghosts, obviously. That's her gift. Uma, who she rents a room with, Uma has inherited a 3-bedroom house and works at the casino. Uma has the ability to move things with her mind a little bit.
Psychokinesis.
And Annalise, who also rents the other room and works at the hotel, she can tell things by touching them, so psychometry. So they each have a little bit of a gift.
Oh, I thought that was so fun. So,
Yeah.
jumping ahead a little bit, she and her friends, I imagine, also populate the next books in the series.
So the way I have done this, I kind of took the cue from Tana French, if you've read her series. But so Carmela is the main character in the first book. Uma is the main character in the second book. It's all her story and how she came about inheriting the house, what she's going through now with her relationship. And then the third book is Annalise, and that's her story, how she finds true love and overcomes some family issues. So each of them, they're all 3 in all books, but a different main character in each book.
Oh, that's cool. I like that because then you get to really get to know those characters and see what kinds of adventures they go on together.
Right.
Yeah.
And a
Go
fourth
ahead.
coming out. I will be writing it in April. I've got a list of what I'm writing this year. April, I'm writing the 4th book to the Desert Rose series, which is Mel's story, and she's a blackjack dealer, and she's their best friend.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, cool. So, you also include in this book a whole bunch of like Star Trek little factoids and well, so she uses this Star Trek what's the word? References to different species to describe people when she meets them.
Right. So Carmela thinks of her mother as a Vulcan, just kind of emotionless. Everything's logical. You do what needs to be done. And she thinks of her father as a Romulan. So every time she meets someone, she kind of applies, what Star Trek character would you be based on your personality?
That's so cute. And because she has this Star Trek flip phone too. So are you a Star Trek fan, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I started watching Star Trek when it came out in the 60s.
Like, didn't we all?
Yeah.
I love those shows. And there's a lot you can learn about those from those shows about writing series, you
Yeah,
know? So
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so what was your inspiration for this series?
Well, I love the Idaho Hotel, and I wanted to use that. And I had this name that I wanted to use, and I was trying to think of, okay, how can I tie all of this in together? And I used to work years ago, I worked for a couple of years down in Nevada in a small town like that. I mean, there was nothing much more than 4 casinos, and that was it. So I thought kind of making that feel of a town, real small, just the hotel and casino is the basic center of the life in the town. And I thought that would be fun to write in, and each person's story and how they're all connected. I like writing that way.
Yeah, that's cool. And clearly you have something going with the paranormal thing, because you have a lot of other books with paranormal themes.
Yes. Yeah, I lived in a house with a ghost. So I am a firm believer, and I think that they deserve some credit.
Absolutely. I believe in ghosts 100%, and I'm writing paranormal thriller right now. That's what I'm pitching it to agents anyway. But yeah, no, I'm a firm believer too. And so I find that very interesting, especially when there's ghosts involved, because I believe in that. And so you must have had some experiences.
Well, yeah, the house that I lived in, it was about 20 years ago, large, very old farmhouse that had been added on to over the years. And there was a ghost that lived there with us. I heard her talk a couple of times. I saw her walk through the kitchen one time. She wasn't ever scary, or I didn't feel threatened, but she made her presence known. Sometimes in the middle of the night, we'd be sound asleep. She'd go in and turn the stereo on in the living room full blast. And we'd all jump out of our bed, you know. She just wanted to let us know she was there.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Really interesting. You also have a nonfiction book about don't stop. It's called Don't Stop Dating Just Because You're Married.
Yeah, so I used to be in Toastmasters. As a teacher, I was learning how to develop better stories and presentations in front of groups. Toastmasters was great for that. I would, anytime as a writer, especially, we tend to be introverts. If you think you need to get up and speak sometime, go to Toastmasters. So with Toastmasters, you have to give a presentation, several throughout the year. And this idea came up one time, and I wrote a short speech on it. It was so well received, I thought that would make a good little book. So I did some surveys and did some more research and put it together in a small book. It's just that we get married and our lives start getting comfortable and everything shifts, and that excitement of a new relationship kind of slips away. And so this tells you how to go out on a date with your spouse and make it fresh. What not to talk about, what not to do, those kinds of things.
That's fun. That is fun. Because I've been married almost 38 years. So
Oh,
I know.
old enough to be married that long.
So yeah, I totally get it. I think but that's a great idea. And I think it's important for couples to get out and do couple things and not focus on, yeah, stuff that, yeah, it just, that's cool. I would recommend your book.
Yep.
So how do you manage your time between writing, marketing, and publishing?
Well, I have allotted times during the day. I was a project manager for the state before I retired, and I have allotted times for everything. I
So
did
like you schedule your writing time versus your marketing time versus I mean, everybody does it a little bit differently. And so I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I just have to schedule everything. I have my whiteboard behind me has the 12 months of this year and what book I'm going to be writing each month. So I'm writing 12 first drafts this month.
This year? My
This year,
goodness.
yeah, one a month. And I joined a challenge so that I'd make sure I had accountability so that someone's holding me to the ropes on that one.
That's a lot of books.
Yeah. Uh,
Wow. I'm lucky if I can crank out two.
well, I did a novel challenge a couple of years ago where I had to write a full novel every other month. So, and I wrote 6 novels. In fact, I wrote these 3 books that year, plus 3 others. And then last year I didn't do a challenge and I got nothing done. I mean, I was doing a lot of other stuff, studying marketing, so online classes, rewriting, but nothing new. So I joined another challenge this year. This one is a novella challenge. So you only have to turn in 15,000 words a month. But
Oh, okay.
but that if I can write that, that gives me a good first draft to work with. Then I can really spend time polishing, expanding it, getting depth into it later on. But I need that first draft. Doing the challenge makes me know that I've got to get that done. So I'm
Yeah.
getting those.
That sounds so exciting because we're all like so drawn to the new bright and shiny idea and everything. Do you find that, or have you found yet that you want to just like stick with that one idea and see it all the way through?
Boy, that's not how my mind works.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, oh, here's another one.
I know, I understand. Ah, what is your greatest inspiration? Is there like an artist or musician or maybe a cinematic experience that gets those juices flowing?
Well, I love I used to be a screenwriter. I started out as a screenwriter. And so movies are big. I love the movies about writers.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Her Alibi with Tom Selleck was always one of my favorites. You know, he's a novelist and it goes through what he's doing, what you're seeing him do versus what's going through his mind, what he's thinking.
Mhm.
So it's
Right.
hilarious. And I have a whole collection of movies about writers. And I can just watch one of them and it just inspires me to just want to jump up and go, oh, okay, now.
Get back to the computer.
Yeah. Or reading. There are certain books that I read that I love the writing so much that I just want to write like that. And if I read enough of it, I can start seeing it come through my words. So I think
Yeah,
Stephen, right there, you got to read a lot.
yeah, for sure. Um, so is there any advice that you would give to authors who want to independently publish?
There's Brian Cohen's Amazon ad school it's free, it's online, he runs it all the time. That is a great way to learn how to create Amazon ads, and that is an important part. Readsy has a lot of good stuff on their side of how to write, how to market. Um, BookBub also they have what they call BookBub partner blogs. Wonderful information in those, how to market. So there's no one place, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
Did it all. I just wrote an article on the book launch I write on medium.com, and I wrote an article on there also how to promote your book on Goodreads. So just finding these wonderful articles, reading the books, it just takes time. And
Yeah.
don't let yourself get overwhelmed. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's a big scary picture, but don't spend a ton of money learning it because you don't need to.
Yeah. I've heard from numerous people that you don't really need the MFA to be
No,
successful.
that
So
doesn't really help genre fiction at all.
no, no, I think School of Hard Knocks is better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, so what's next for you? You're writing 12 books this year.
So now I have a new book that just came out last month. That's the first book in a new series called Penny Angel. I have the next 3 books I'm writing will be in that series. Penny Angel takes place in Gig Harbor, Washington, which is right across the water from Tacoma in the Puget Sound area. It's a small area. This is an urban fantasy, so a known place, present day, but if you look in the shadows, there's witches and there's werewolves.
That's cool. I love it. And what's that series called?
It's Penny Angel.
Penny Angel series.
Penny Angel, yeah. So this is the first book, Penny Angel and the Black Diamond. And now I'm just finishing up the first draft of book 2. So it's a lot of fun because I've never really written werewolves and witches before. So this
Uh-huh.
is something new and exciting. And I may not write more than these 4 books. I don't know. I never know until they talk to me and say that you need to write this.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much. Let's let viewers know where they can find you or where they can reach out.
Yeah, sherrybriscoe.com.
Hmm.
And it's as SHERRYBRISCOE. So sherrybriscoe.com is my website. And on my website, it has the links to all of my social media. If they click to receive my newsletter, they get a free download PDF of a short story. That's kind of a fun one.
Nice.
Paranormal, of course.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sherry. It's been really great talking to you today.
Thank you. I've
Yeah,
enjoyed this. I love watching the Blackbird Writers Group with all the amazing things that they have, and I like sharing their information. So,
that's great. Thank you. Um, so we'll see you around.
thank you. Thanks, Tracy.